Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Rich here, back with another video. This is the Q&A video that I've wanted to do for a while, but we've got it in the theme of WNBA free agency. We got some questions we're going to get to that came to me right from the community. Appreciate you guys that left questions, and if you want your question read off in a future edition of these, make sure you leave a comment or check that community tab from time to time and see if I got something there that you can ask, and I will answer it on the video here. But much love to the people that, have been showing love on the channel and everything like that. It is WNBA free agency time, which promises to be a wild, wild west, as compared to something like the 2010 offseason free agency in the NBA. This one sees, a 1 year season that has a lockout on the other side. And I think this one has the potential to change the dynamics of the league, especially if people just decide, hey, I'm ready to move. If teams come out here and they're like, we're going to make a few moves and, spend some bread and try to get this championship before, the salary structure completely morphs in, the return. So we're going to go through first what some of the unrestricted free agents are. Teams are already negotiating contracts with these folks on January 21st, so there's a lot going on in Unrivaled. Teams, meeting and warming up to players, cooling off on players. No one can sign a deal until February 1st. So let's take a look at the unrestricted free agents. And looking at on WNBA.com, they were nice enough to put the pictures with the names. So maybe you've seen some of these people if you didn't know their names, or faces, vice versa. So we're starting with Monique Billings, Alicia Clark, Queen Egbo, Dwana Bonner, Sydney Colson, Olivia Ipupa, I believe, Kennedy Burke, Crystal Dangerfield, a big one, Brittany Griner, literally and figuratively, Kennedy Carter, which is an interesting one for sure. Elena Del Don, dropping out of the sky, back in the league, perhaps as an unrestricted free agent. She's not been playing. She's been on the sideline for the Washington Mystics. Isabel Harrison, Tina Charles, Diamond DeShields, Tiffany Hayes, playing an Unrivaled. Natasha Heidemann came out in Unrivaled recently. Azine Kalu, Nneka Agumake, Maisha Hines-Allen, Lee Mang, Charisma Osborne, that's a great name right there. Joyner Holmes, Tiffany Mitchell, Cheyenne Parker, Tyus, Natasha Howard, Astu, Nador Fall, Ariel Powers, Brianna Jones, Kia Nurse, Mercedes Russell, and Odyssey Sims, Victoria Vivians, Diana Taurasi, which we can probably talk about in just a second, Shatori Walker Kimbrough, Brianna Turner, Erica Wheeler, Courtney Vandersloot, and Sammy Whitcomb. Diana Taurasi is a pretty interesting player to think about because there's a lot of rumblings swirling that she's going to hang it up. She's going to retire, and that would really be the end of an era in Phoenix, combining, the loss of Diana Taurasi, presumably with the loss of Brittany Griner. I believe I heard something, she took the Phoenix Mercury out of her bio on Instagram. Like, there's, possibly end of an era there. She's been there, like, we don't think about how long Brittany Griner has played there, because Diana's literally been there since let's see, Diana's been there since 2004, like 21 years. So yeah, we don't even register Brittany Griner's like 12 or 13 seasons that she was with Phoenix. So Phoenix potentially could be looking at remaking this whole thing. They're going to have a lot of money to throw around if they lose those two players. So elsewhere, there are restricted free agents as well, just like in the NBA. These are basically, they can match any offer that comes in. So it's Dejanay Carrington, Ari McDonald, Dana Evans, Michaela Uyenware, that is very tough, and Temi Fagbenle. Our core players, these are like, your super free agents essentially. So we'll talk about more of what it is. So they said they like to think of it as the WNBA's version of a franchise tag. Like I just said, an organization can at maximum core one veteran free agent. A core qualifying offer is a fully guaranteed 1 year deal worth the supermax that both unrestricted free agents and restricted free agents are eligible for. A core designation is a 1-year deal on the maximum salary base. If a player receives a core designation, the team that designates them is the only team with which a player can sign or negotiate a contract during the free agency period, but the team and player can still negotiate a move elsewhere if the parties desire. Like Satu Sabali, possibly like Kelsey Plum. Some people are trying to say this is a Kelsey Mitchell situation as well. It's been very quiet on that front. Most recently, LA and Jordan Canada completed a sign and trade to Atlanta while under the core designation last offseason. One thing to think about with Alyssa Thomas is, where's DeWanna Bonner going? Or do they have a desire to still play with each other? Gabby Williams hasn't really gotten the minutes. She had been in France and came back to the league halfway through the season after, a great performance in the Olympics. A lot of people were talking about Kelsey Plum, where she could possibly end up, and I think I got a question about that, so I'll save that there. Breanna Stewart, don't expect anything exciting to really happen there. She's going back, but and then we got a list of like reserve players. You'll see a lot of international players here. I'll just let you pause the video and see everyone who's on this list. Then we got signed reserve players. Jaylen Brown is pretty good. Alrighty, so I got some of the questions here pulled up. So the first one is going to come from Gil Martin. I'm going to go from the bottom to the top here. What do you think Indiana's plan B should be if they don't get Satu? If they do get Satu, what other role players should they pursue? Now, that's a great question because Satu Sabali has been playing an unrivaled, and I've seen a lot of people starting to get cold feet on her, saying she's ruining her trade value and everything. And I think the more pressing thing about Satu Sabali, the question is her health and availability rather than her ability. 3-on-3 is a different format. There are different skills that are prioritized to be successful there. She is very tall. She can defend. She can shoot. And I would not write her off of the 5-on-5 environment based on how she looks in the 3-on-3 environment. But to address Gil's question, if they don't get Satu, I would be looking at Elena Del Don. Now that I know that this woman is potentially available to fall off the sky, I think that is a move heaven and earth to try to get her in. She can walk in day one and start. She can, play right next to Aaliyah Boston. You got a nice high-low right there. She can shoot. A pick and roll. Caitlin Clark will be incredible there, and she can stretch the floor. And she's been a great player for a really long time. And if she's got anything close to what she was at her peak, I think that radically would transform the lineup there. As far as other role players, I am a fan of putting Kennedy Carter down to see if, you making the call and see if she wants to, take a role as like the sixth woman. I would also look at someone like Natasha Howard, older player, veteran, but still was going to come in and give the team a toughness that I think if you look up and down the roster, I think it needs to be there. I think Alicia Clark might be interesting to sit in the corner. I just don't know what type of minutes will be available at the 3 between like Lexi Hull and whatever other forward they have. There's going to be somebody that gets left out. Hell, and if nobody else wants to come, take a whiff on Tina Charles. Like, have somebody to come in and lead the second unit. We don't necessarily need her to start in Indiana because Leah Boston is there, but presumably she would be a great veteran presence there. I think we should be looking at the elevation of Grace Berger possibly, though, into some of those minutes rather than looking outside the organization for Indiana. And I think that a nice combination of Elena Del Don, the elevation of a Grace Berger, and possibly a shooter like Alicia Clark, that would probably be if I was a GM, that's what I would be looking at. Appreciate the question. Up next, the next question is from Kelsaw Link 60. Annie Constable is reporting that Jewell Loyd wants to go to the Aces. I know she had a down year based on her past performance, but she's still a top 10 scorer. I think she's an upgrade over Plum and would keep the Aces in the upper tier of the league. We got a couple comments underneath that, but Jewell Loyd is a champion, won some titles in the league. As you mentioned, did have a rough season shooting the ball. The locker room was a disaster in Seattle. There was an investigation by the league. Everyone got cleared, but still, there was a lot going on there. You would have thought the team would have been better. They kind of had like a big four. And I think, one thing, when she played in the Olympics that was shocking was how little she played and then how bad she shot the ball. So I don't know if this was something like, are we going to find out that she, needed LASIK surgery or something? Like her shooting just fell off a cliff. I don't know if she's an upgrade over Kelsey Plum. I think Kelsey Plum she's definitely younger than her. So I just don't see, just based on, career trajectories of Jewell Loyd being that much effective, that much longer than Kelsey Plum. Kelsey Plum could have a desire to, do a little more. So maybe it fits for the Aces in that, that role. Like, well, okay, Kelsey Plum's never going to be your number one option as long as you got A'ja Wilson there. But you take an older Jewell Loyd and she might, fit like say like a Ray Allen, essentially changing teams later in their career. But that requires her to, get her shooting corrected. If she can get her shooting corrected, I think you could be onto something as far as like keeping the Aces in the upper tier of the league. They did fall back to 4th last year, and it's only going to get more competitive. A'ja Wilson's going to need help in that front court as well. There have been whispers of the Aces possibly being interested in Brittany Griner. There's also been talk with the Dallas Wings because, she went to Baylor University. So there's, a lot there to think about. But I think Kelsey Plum, I think she's itching to like it just feels like everything's gone silent with her. They retired her jersey at Washington. She pulled out of Unrivaled. So if you were gonna like change teams, I think it would be a nice cover to like not have to be around the media and take all those questions that she's likely to get if she's playing Unrivaled. She wants to change teams in the middle of it. So I would count on her changing teams. And that, you could easily look at a Golden State. You could definitely look at a Seattle for her. I think that's one of the comments there, because Kelsey Plum played for Washington. Either way, I think that might be a solid move for both. I don't know if Jewell's an upgrade, but based on where they're kind of headed in their careers, it makes sense. And our last question comes from my man Brooklyn Ike, DMAC5472. Got a biased question. What moves should the defending champion New York Liberty make in their effort to repeat? Well, they should keep those payments going to the referees that helped out in Game 5. No, I'm playing with you. The Liberty, so they are the envy of the league, I think, just because they did put together this stacked roster. They have a great organization. They have great organizational support as far as like believing in the players, investing in the players, the travel, the facilities, the willingness to spend and scout. If it was me, I would make sure Leonie Fibic is not traded at all. I would not want to trade her for anybody because she was just this devastating weapon that you have almost as an expensive luxury. I would never give that up. I think you got to call Satu Sabali and see if she wants to do it. You got to say, hey, do you want to come here? But if you got to give up Fibic, I would not make that trade. If you could somehow get her without giving up Fibic, if you can, just blow through your draft capital, do it. Because you could probably run off a couple the way this thing is going with Sabrina and Ionescu and then Jonquel Jones, Fibic. They did lose, I believe, Kayla Thornton in the supplemental draft, but there was a sick lineup that they played. I think they yanked Sabrina off the floor, and everyone was above like 6'2" or 6'3" at the same time, and that just like stifled the Lynx in the finals. Of course, Nyara Sabali is there. You link her up with her sister Satu. You link them up with Sabrina Ionescu, who played with Satu. That is a interesting, kind of thing there. Sandy Brondello also should definitely turn her mic off when she's coaching people to flop. I think she should do that. I think the one thing to be aware of for the Liberty is, once you win, you're the hunted now. Like, we saw them basically come in with a chip on their shoulder, wanted the rematch to take it to the Aces, ended up beating the Aces. Are they still as hungry? Are they still as driven? And that is, a question that all champions face. So I would say the biggest move is to secure Leonie Fibic. Like, make sure no one takes her off your hands. As far as adding people, I don't know what their salary structure looks like. They're already pretty loaded, but retain her and don't do anything that ends up with her not on the roster. So anyway, my name is Rich. That was the first time we did a Q&A on the channel. We'll be back with another one. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching this video. Like the channel, comment below any other questions you might have. Leave them in this video. Maybe we can make another one. We'll turn this into a series or something. Anyway, I'll holla at y'all. Peace.